Well, hi, readers. Welcome to Lesson 4 today. We're continuing our work with our story of Old Henry and Tim. It will start out with vocabulary words, so you get your book ready. Also, make sure you have your packet ready for our work after the reading. I'll see you in just a moment. All right, scholars, lesson 4 begins with vocabulary words. Remember, we want to use our pointing finger and track with me as I'm going through the words. We're starting at column 1. Word 1 is route. What word? Good, route. What route do you take to get from your home to the grocery store, for example? The route, right? The path you take. Route. Word 2 is receive. What word? Good. Receive means get. When you get a letter in the mail, you receive a letter in the mail. If she got a puppy for her birthday, we could say she received a puppy for her birthday. Word 3, unfrozen. What word? Good. The prefix un at the beginning of this word means not. So unfrozen means not frozen. Untied means not tied. Right? If your shoe is untied, it's not tied. Word 4 is above. What word? Good. You'll remember yesterday I told you that an antonym or opposite of above is below. Word 5, equator. What word? Good. Remember, the equator is that imaginary line that runs around the center of the Earth. It splits the Earth into the northern hemisphere, or half, and the southern hemisphere, or half. Word 6, anymore. What word? Good. Let's go through the whole first column the quick way together. I'm back at 1 pointing. Are you? Here we go. Route, receive, unfrozen, above, equator, anymore. I'm going to column 2. Are you ready? Now, scholars, all the words in column 2 have endings on them. Are you being a careful reader and making sure you get those endings? I sure hope so. Word 1 is circles. What word? Good. Word 2 is glided. What word? Excellent. Word 3 is barns. What word? Well done. Word 4 is training. What word? You got it. Word 5, dived. What word? Well done. We did the whole second column. Let's go back and do it the quick way. Pointers are ready. Here we go. Circles, glided, barns, training, dived. Great job. Now, scholars, before we go to our information passage, if you feel like you need any more practice up here with the vocabulary words, press pause for a moment and go through them again. Right? You want to make sure you're mastering our vocabulary words. All right. We're going to read our next story today about Henry and Tim, but we first have this information passage that's going to give us some facts about the Earth. Remember to follow along. Facts about the Earth. Some places on the Earth are colder and some places are hotter. Here are some facts you need to know about the Earth. The Earth is shaped like a ball. Let's say that together. Ready? The Earth is shaped like a ball. That's an important fact for us to remember, scholars. It doesn't look like it's that shape because the Earth is very large. Pictures of the Earth that are taken from a spaceship show that the Earth is shaped like a ball. So scholars, here looking at picture 1, that's a picture of the Earth. This picture was taken from a spaceship that was near the moon. You can see the blue parts and white parts on the Earth. The blue parts are water. Touch some of those blue parts. The white parts are clouds. Touch some white parts. So what did we just hear the blue parts are? Water. And what are the white parts? Clouds. You got it. Let's turn the page. We have more facts, scholars. The hottest part of the Earth is called the equator. You can see the equator in picture 2. Everyone, take a moment, touch the equator. Right? That's that imaginary line we just went over in the vocabulary words, splitting the Earth into the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. The equator is a pretend line that goes around the fattest part of the Earth. The coldest parts of the Earth are called the poles. You can see 2 poles in picture 2. The pole on top is called the North Pole. The pole on the bottom is called the South Pole. So, scholars, what do we call those coldest parts of the Earth? Right, the poles. And how many poles are there? Did you say 2? What's the name of the pole on top of the Earth? Right, North Pole. And what's the name of the pole on the bottom of the Earth? You got it, South Pole. So the poles are actually pretend marks. If you went there, you would not actually see poles sticking out like that at the North Pole and South Pole. The farther you go from the equator, the colder it gets. The poles are the parts of the Earth that are farthest from the equator. Scholars, let's look at these 2 letters over here for a moment. Which letter is farther from the equator? M is correct. Which letter would be a colder place? Right, M. How do you know it's colder than R? How do you know M is colder than R? Right, it's further from the equator. Good job. So, if you wanted to live where the winters were very cold, would you want to live close to the equator or not close to the equator? Right, you would want to live not close to the equator, right? So scholars, Minnesota is right around in this area, right? You can see the Great Lakes right there. So we're a little farther away, right, from the equator. So do we have winter weather that gets cold? We do. But if we lived here, right, in this area, that would be like Venezuela, right? That's part of South America and Central America, right in here, Colombia. Like this area does not get very cold, does not get cold and wintry at all like we do in Minnesota because it's near the equator, right? Good job. Scholars, I'd like you to pause for a moment and reread the information passage before we go to today's story. Please take a moment to do that. Good. So today, part C, our story continues. And I'm excited by this story today, just looking at our title. Tim has a flying lesson. You'll remember that yesterday at the end, we learned that Henry said he would teach Tim two things, right? He could teach him how to fly and then tell him how to get to Florida. And our story continues. The morning was cold and still. Ice had formed all around the shore of the lake. Tim said, "Wow, it's really cold this morning." "Yes," old Henry said. "And if you're going to get on your way to Florida before it gets even colder, we'd better start on your training today." So Henry explained what Tim had to do. He had to run with his wings held straight out to the sides. Then Henry would honk. That honk told Tim to start flapping his wings. "I'll bet you can do it the first time we try," Henry said. So scholars, let's stop right there for a moment. What was it that Tim is supposed to do with his wings first? Did you remember he's supposed to hold them out to the side? And then when Henry honks, what is Tim supposed to do with his wings? Start flapping is the right answer. Good work. Let's continue, scholars. Are you still tracking? Here's where we are. Henry and Tim went to a hill near the lake. Henry said, "Just run down this hill as fast as you can. Remember to keep those wings out to the side." Then Henry took off and circled above Tim. "Go," Henry said, and Tim went, running as fast as he could. Henry honked, and Tim started flapping his wings. "That's it," Henry honked. "Keep flapping." Tim took off, but as soon as he did, he became frightened and stopped flapping. Plop! He fell back down to the ground and tumbled over and over. So scholars, was Tim able to get up into the air? He was, yes. But why did he then stop flapping his wings? Right, he got scared. And when he stopped flapping, what happened? He fell to the ground, didn't he? Here's where we are. Henry landed next to him and laughed. "Well," Henry said, "at least you got into the air. Now, all you have to do is learn how to stay up there. You have to keep flapping after you take off." Tim said, "But I got scared." Henry said, "Well, just remember, geese are made for flying. It's nothing to be scared about. I'll fly in front of you. Just keep looking at me and do what I do." So scholars, did Tim get hurt when he fell to the ground? No, he didn't. And what did Henry tell Tim he has to do after he takes off? Right, he has to keep flapping. So Henry decided he would fly in front of Tim, and then Tim should just do what Henry does. Let's see if that helps. Oh, scholars, this next sentence reminds me of something. So they tried again. So, scholars, Tim didn't give up, right? He's going to try again. What virtue does that sound like to you? Fortitude, absolutely. So they tried again. This time, Henry made sure that he was right in front of Tim when he took off. Henry honked and honked. Keep flapping and look at me. The two geese flew all the way across the lake and over the hill on the other side. Henry turned around to look at Tim. He didn't look scared anymore. He had a big smile on his face. He honked, "This is great! I love it!" "Well, just keep doing what I do," Henry said. Henry led Tim up higher and higher, more than a mile high. Then Henry held his wings out to the side and glided. Tim followed. The birds turned and swooped and dived and climbed. At last Henry said, "Now we're going to land. We'll go in the water. Remember to do what I do." Henry came down and made a perfect landing in the water. Tim also made a landing, but it was not perfect. He was going too fast, and he landed with a great splash. Both of the geese laughed. Tim shouted, "I can fly!" "You sure can," Henry said. So scholars, that's the end of our story for today. A big day for Tim, I would say, isn't it? So I want you to now, before you look at this with me, pause for a moment, right? I want you to reread today's story to someone in your family, right? A parent, a grandparent, a sibling, your pet, a stuffed animal. Remember, you can read it to whomever you want, but I want you to make sure you're reading it aloud to someone, right? So you're practicing your strong fluency. All right, now that you've read to someone, we're going to look at lesson 4. This one's kind of a big one today, so you want to make sure you're paying attention to what I'm saying, right? Characters have physical traits and personality traits. A physical trait is features about your body. The first thing you see when you look at someone could be their hair, their clothes, their nose, their figure. So what they look like. Right? When you look at someone, a physical trait is something that you can see when you're looking at them. Right? It reminds me a lot of what we're working on right now with our book, Let's Talk About Race. Right? Physical things are the things that you can see, those physical traits. Right? So some of those are, of course, part of your identity, but they're the things people can see about you. Right? But a personality trait is a trait about someone's personality. You cannot tell by looking at someone what their personality traits are. Personality traits are things like kindness, justice, wisdom, prudence, temperance, right? They're things about your character, your inside, right? How you treat others, how you act. Those are parts of your personality traits. In the table below, please list 3 personality traits and 3 physical traits about the geese in the story. So, personality traits for Henry, right? Personality traits for Tim, and then physical traits for Henry and physical traits for Tim. I'm thinking, scholars, that I'm even going to maybe put in 3 little dots here to remind me I need to do 3 personality traits for Henry and 3 personality traits for Tim, and then 3 physical traits for Henry and 3 physical traits for Tim. Now, if you're having really lots of trouble with that, try to at least get 2, but to get all your points, right? If you look down at our rubric, to get all your points for that part of our scoring rubric, you're going to need 3 for each one. But if you're really having trouble and only can do 2, right, at least you'll get half of your point for that one. But try your best. So personality, right, their insides, their character. If you're having trouble, ask someone for help in your family, right? This is a very, very big, important skill for us in 3rd grade. So working on that right now by yourself could be kind of tricky. It's okay to ask someone for help. Then the second part of your page today, looking at the personality traits. So personality traits of these 2 geese, which goose would you rather have as a friend? Why? Give 2 examples. Now, scholars, I want to make sure I'm using words from the question in my answer. So I would go back to the which goose would you rather have as a friend? So I would like to have, I'm going to put a blank there, right? Because I could write Tim or I could write Henry as a friend. Or maybe you're even thinking both. I think if you had 2 examples of why both of them you'd like to have both of them as friends, that would be okay too. As long as you're telling me why, right, with your 2 examples. I would like to have blank as a friend. Oh, and scholars, we're only on our 4th lesson, and I think I've almost every day already told you how much I love this word because. Right? And then I'm going to give my 2 reasons why I would want this goose, whomever I write here, as a friend. Right? Which things about his personality would make him a good friend? Right? This is a big one today, scholars, so please take your time. Ask somebody for help. If you're having trouble finding help at home and you want help from me, remember I have office hours. You can look at the office hours link at the top of our classroom page under things you need to know and just click on into that during office hours and I will help you. Good luck, scholars. I look forward to reading your tables.